Okay, imagine this. There are two guys. In this example, both of them are working out, either in the gym or at home, doesn't really matter. One guy trains, but only when he has the motivation to work out. The other guy trains even when he doesn't have the motivation to train, but instead uses discipline. Who do you think would have the better body after 1 year? The guy who only trained when he wanted to, or the guy who trained even when he didn't want to? For this example, we're just gonna say that both of them had the exact same genetics. Point is, more probably than not, the guy who always trained, or well, the guy who used discipline, will have a better physique compared to the guy who trained only when he wanted to. Let me tell you a quick story. When I first went to the gym, I was extremely motivated. I couldn't wait to go back the next day and to go train again. I sometimes even wanted to go to the gym twice a day and I had to hold myself back. But then as time passed, you guessed it, motivation started to fade away and I started to not want to go to the gym and I would rather just skip this day. Now this is where discipline has to take over. Let me explain. At the start of something you're doing, you mostly rely heavily on motivation. That motivation comes from the fact that you have just started doing something new and you're excited to start that new journey of discovering and learning things. However, as time passes, you naturally start to feel like that this feeling of motivation starts to decline and fade away. I personally think that is due to the fact that, for example, when you work out, it becomes repetitive and you start to see less and less progress as time passes. But now it's important that discipline takes over. Discipline allows you to still do something even though you don't feel like it. Motivation is when you want to do something and you do that thing. And discipline is when you don't want to do something but you do it regardless. Now of course, don't be stupid here, use common sense. Don't say, I don't want to jump off this bridge but I do it anyway. That's of course not the point. Discipline keeps you going even when you don't want to keep going. This will eventually lead you to a point where you're grateful that you kept pushing through. Remember, when one person wants to quit his journey because he doesn't see any results and doesn't have any motivation anymore, you will surpass him because you don't rely on motivation to keep you going. Of course, motivation is absolutely great if you can use that to your advantage, but you just have to make sure that you don't rely on motivation to keep you going. Otherwise, you more probably than not won't continue. Discipline will solve that problem for you. So how do you build up discipline? I believe personally anyone has discipline, but not a lot of people use it to its full potential, including me because I'm also still learning and building myself up. Discipline is, just like we discussed before, doing something regardless of how you feel about that thing. Let's say you plan to go for a run every Thursday. On the first day, you might feel motivated to go because it's something new, but as time passes, that motivation will fade away, like we discussed before, and you will have days where you don't feel like going for a run, but if you go regardless of how you feel, then you've just used discipline. You won't always feel motivated to do something, and you can't rely on motivation because that is in most cases just temporary. It's pretty hard to give advice on discipline because it's always within you, so to say. Something that will inevitably help you is if you have a goal or a vision. If you want to become ripped and have a great physique, you will probably quit after a while because your standards of what a good physique is will change and become higher the longer you work towards it. However, if you just like the feeling of working out and the fulfillment you get after it, or when you do calisthenics and you master a new skill, then you're way more likely to be consistent because you're not aiming at a goal that is moving with you at the same time. So in summary, if you work out to look a certain way, you probably won't be consistent because your standards will change over time. But when you work out because you just like the feeling of progress and learning a new skill, for example, or the feeling you get afterwards, then you're way more likely to be consistent. Doing hard things that you don't want to do allows you to do anything you want to do. Think about it. Everyone you see on the streets probably has the same goals as you. However, most people won't achieve those goals. Why? Because it's hard and they don't want to do those hard things consistently. However, if you can use discipline and you constantly do hard things, then you will achieve the thing you wanted because you never gave up. Where most people quit, you kept going. That's what will lead you to achieve your goal. Like the video, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and do something today that you didn't want to do, but you know you kinda have to do it. Yeah, until next time.